My name's Celine Marchbank. I'm a photographic artist and I'm working on the Connect Public Arts programme for the redevelopment of Brighton Hospital, and my theme is Brighton. My practice is about looking at everyday life, looking at kind of things that people may have kind of overlooked or things that happen every day in our life. A lot of it is about human presence, but it's not so much about having a person within the frame. It's very much about stories of people. Some of the work I've worked on recently has been very personal and quite exposing to situations that I've been in, but I suppose it's about expressing a feeling and an emotion and kind of exploring that. My previous two bodies of work have been very much personal work, come from personal situation, and they were both directly as a response to the death of my mother. So my Tulip project was the story of the last year of her life, and she was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and we started this project of kind of recording all the kind of time that we had left together. And rather than it being kind of pictures of someone getting more ill kind of thing, it was me really trying to record all the kind of precious little things in her house and all the kind of personality of her within this kind of warm family home, which would also be gone when she was gone. After that project was finished, this kind of need to understand the situation and to kind of come to terms with it, I suppose, became a project about exploring grief and how you kind of rebuild a life, I suppose, and how you navigate through the grieving process after someone's died. My approach for this commission, what interests me and the reason why I applied for it is because it was the fact that it was helping to make clinical spaces nicer for the people that use them. And from my experience, all these waiting rooms had something in common, is that they were all really quite unpleasant spaces to be in. But the one place that did feel kind of nice and homely, which is weird for a clinical setting, but it was the Marie Curie Hospice. And I was thinking about what was it about this place that made it nicer. And it was things like they had a vase of flowers, or they had a soft chair that you could sit on, or a mug that you could have a cup of tea in. And it was very much about making people feel a bit more at home. And so for this commission, I was really interested in trying to find, I suppose, as many people in Brighton and trying to find out what home means to them and how you can bring some of that warmth and familiarity into the waiting room settings. And so I thought it was really important also to include as many people who would use these spaces and make them feel part of the work. So I made a real effort to make sure that the staff felt included and also patients, ex-patients, volunteers, carers, families. I wanted to try and meet as many people as possible. So I went to many meetings in the hospital. I set up some kind of little small groups with patients and ex-patients. I attended staff meetings and just kind of generally got the word out about the project. So I've been shooting in a variety of locations, lots of places around Brighton, obviously where the people's homes are, but I've also been visiting people within other areas. As well as photographing in people's homes, I was really interested in asking people what they did when they felt most at home. And, you know, I think that feeling of being at home doesn't just have to be in a house, it's kind of what do you do when you're in your environment, in your neighbourhood. And the responses have been really varied. I spent time photographing an alcoholics and drug recovery orchestra for an evening of them rehearsing. And it was this lovely kind of coming together of people who I suppose needed a kind of community event to go to every week. And it's something that they said that they did, that's what they most felt at home doing. I've also been to a age-concerned lunch in Peacehaven, and it was really sweet. And they say some of them that's the only time that they kind of feel like they're kind of getting out of their house and feeling kind of part of a group, really. So some of the pictures that I've shown to people have really kind of sparked off conversations, and I think that's what the work's all really about. And that's what I'm kind of hoping will happen in these waiting rooms, that people will see things and they might have a conversation about the cutlery that's in the pictures or the curtains, and showing the work to people that have been part of the project and to new people who might be part of the project. I've kind of sat around in a group and had a 10-minute conversation about net curtains and the curtains they have in their house and what their grandparents had in their house, and just kind of general kind of little bits of like their kind of life comes out when they sit there and talk about a picture. And I think that's what's really nice about the project.